Is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Hump Day Wednesday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app. We are live as always on YouTube and Twitter at 973 ESPN. We're in the middle of the week and arguably one of the most important weeks of the NFL season is what we all are getting ready for this week. We will be talking about it throughout the show today. And of course, we'll take your thoughts and comments as well at 609-403-0973 is the text board. And of course, you can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app, thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City. Of course, if you had the 973 ESPN mobile app already, you would have seen the alert today, our latest on the high school sports series. Today, we did a deep dive into Middle Township High School. You also would have seen the vote for the high school athlete of the week. And of course, if you didn't check that out yet, you can go to the website, 973ESPN.com or the 973 ESPN mobile app to vote for this week's winner. We will announce the winner on Friday night at 6:50, as we do each week here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. I mentioned that this NFL week is very important. The reason why it's important is because pretty much every game involves a team that is fighting for something when it comes to the postseason. It's not just the Eagles and Saints here. I know for some people are saying, oh, the Eagles aren't making the playoffs. Stop it. It's not about they're a good team or not. It's just math. I know math was a hated topic for many of us in school, but guess what? Math tells us that the Eagles have a chance to make the postseason. And if they beat the Saints this Sunday, which is a very doable thing, by the way, then they could be in the driver's seat holding almost every significant tiebreaker heading down the stretch. And it's not just the Eagles. Chiefs, Cowboys, they want to keep winning so they get a good seed in the postseason. The Chiefs, they're trying to put a lock hold down on their playoff chances. Look at the situation with the Bengals and the Raiders. The Bengals and the Raiders are both have a chance to make the postseason. And unless they tie this Sunday, they're both going to be able to dictate their own destiny with a win. Ravens, Bears. Bears mathematically still in it. Ravens are the favorite right now to win the AFC North. Colts, Bills. Colts fighting for a playoff spot. Bills got to keep winning because the Patriots are right on their heels in the AFC East. Speaking of the Patriots, they're playing on Thursday Night Football, which you can hear right here on 97.3 ESPN right after the Flyers game tomorrow night. How about the Packers and the Vikings? I don't understand how the Vikings have won some of these games. I'm still trying to figure out, are the Vikings winning games or are their opponents losing games? Because it's starting to feel like more and more that their opponents are just not good teams, or they're just not playing well or something like that. And then look who else is on the schedule for this Sunday. Washington, Carolina. Carolina is still in the playoff picture. And their former head coach is coming back to Carolina to play the Panthers with Cam Newton expected to be their quarterback. Storylines loaded for that game. By the way, don't forget, Cardinals, Seahawks. Seahawks embarrassing loss. Cardinals trying to keep a stranglehold of the NFC West. Sunday football, Steelers, Chargers, two teams still in the playoff hunt. Monday football, Tampa Bay's got to get back on track if they want to make sure they can win their division. And a Giants team that's playing a little bit above their pay grade right now, play a little better than they're supposed to. So this is a loaded slate of games in the NFL this Sunday. And the Eagles are right in the middle of the mix. So while, listen, I love talking to you guys about draft picks. I love talking to you guys about potential guys that could be drafted. And as you see over at 973ESP.com, another mock draft, another scenario where the Eagles walk away with some interesting players. Some of them that we talked about yesterday that you guys texted in, DM'd, and messaged us about yesterday. So there's a lot of ways this season can go, but it all starts this weekend. Whether you're an Eagles fan or you're a fan of another team, mathematically, the majority of the league is still in it because there's so much parity. It's insane. The level of parity right now is off the charts. Just in the NFC, there are 2 teams with 8 wins. 1 team with 7. I'm sorry, 2 teams with 7 wins. 1 team with 6. And everyone else got 5 and 4. The only team we're really sure is not making the postseason is the Lions. And right now, the Bears, the Seahawks, and the Giants and Washington are all 3 and 6, and they're on the outside looking in. So really, your playoff contenders are the Eagles, the Falcons, the 49ers, the Vikings, the Panthers, and the Saints. All bunched together. They all got either 4 or 5 wins. This is going to be a big weekend for everyone. Now, I'm not guaranteeing you the Eagles are going to win. I'm not promising you an Eagles playoff appearance. But what I am telling you is they're in the mix. And if they beat the Saints this Sunday, that means they will own tiebreakers over 3 teams that are in the playoff chase with them: New Orleans, Carolina, and Atlanta. All 3 of those teams are fighting each other to get into the postseason. And by the way, none of them are that far behind the Bucks in their division either. The NFC South is kind of a mess right now, when you really break it down. Tampa is 6 and 3, but New Orleans is 5 and 4. The Panthers are 5 and 5, and Atlanta's 4 and 5. So it's not like Tampa Bay is running away with that division. There's really only 2 divisions that are pretty much locked, sealed, and delivered already. The NFC East, where the Cowboys are 7 and 2 and nobody else is above 500. And the NFC North, where the Packers are 8 and 2 and nobody's above 500. All the other divisions, they're in play. The Cardinals are just ahead of the Rams right now, thanks to their loss to the 49ers the other night. And then in the South, I told you guys, Tampa's barely ahead right now. They're 6 and 3. Everybody else is right behind them. 5 and 4, 5 and 5. So this is going to be an interesting weekend to keep an eye on the NFL slate. Because if you're the Eagles and you look around, you'll realize that you're right there with a bunch of teams. They're not great teams, but they're pretty much in the same boat as you. Think about it this way. The Eagles have still not won a game at home. They are 4 and 2 on the road. You can't be 4 and 2 on a road and be a garbage team. I don't think the Eagles are a bad football team. You also can't be a bad football team and have a plus scoring differential. Yes, the Eagles are plus 26 on the year. 257 points scored, 231 allowed. In fact, shockingly enough, here are the teams that have allowed fewer points than the Eagles this year: the Cowboys, the Packers, the Vikings, the Bears, shocking, right? The Saints, the Panthers, the Bucks, the Seahawks, the Cardinals, the 49ers, the Rams, and the Giants. So wait a minute. I just named most of the NFC East. I'm sorry, the NFC Conference. So how are the Eagles plus 26 on the year? It's because the Eagles have scored 257 points this year. For as much as people like me have pounded the table and just grit our teeth through parts of this year, this Eagles offense has found their way. And Eagles offense did absolutely nothing last year. And I got to give Sirianni credit for getting his head out of the sand. I got to give the Eagles credit for finding the run game and sticking with it. And I'm going to assume moving forward that this team, the Eagles, are going to keep scoring. Because don't forget, the Saints are probably the best defense they are going to see the rest of the way until the final week of the year. Here's the breakdown. Don't forget, Giants, Jets, bye week. Washington, Giants, Washington, Dallas. So week 11 and week 18, you play a couple really good defenses. In between, you play a bunch of schmucks. You can score points. The Eagles can keep scoring points. For as much as we have all complained and been frustrated with this Eagles team, they're not a bad football team. You can't be plus 26 and be a bad football team. You know who's minus this year? Washington, New York, Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta, Seattle is even in the minus category. The Raiders, who beat you, are in the minus category. The Texans, they're horrible. The Jags, they're bad. The Browns, they're annoying. The Jets, bad football team. Dolphins are in the minus. They're kind of finding themselves. The Eagles are in the plus. Something to keep an eye on as we head down the stretch of the season. Again, this weekend, NFL Week 11, is the start of the end for a lot of teams. Will the Eagles be one of those teams? We're going to find out this Sunday. I'm Josh Hennig, hanging out with you here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM. Of course, text board is open as always at 609-403-0973. You can DM it into the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. And we are live on YouTube and Twitter at 973 ESPN. Don't forget, coming up at 6:20 tonight, another Weinberg Wednesday with Dave Weinberg joining us on the other side. Talk more Eagles and much more right here. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night.
This is the radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. It's week 11 of the 2021 season with the Eagles hosting the New Orleans Saints.
Now what do the Saints do?
Hey, what the Eagles do a nice job of rallying to the football. Now, they understand the importance of this football game.
Pre-game coverage begins this Sunday at noon. Merrill and Mike call all the action starting at 1. This is where the Eagles play. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station.
Tyndall Auto Plaza has the area's largest selection of pre-owned vehicles of all makes and models, with over 170 pre-owned vehicles on their huge 100-acre lot. Everything from sporty coupes to SUVs to trucks. Tyndall offers the area's best buying experience, easy and hassle-free, with 60 years of customer satisfaction and community service. Discover why Tyndall customers are so loyal. Shop for your next pre-owned vehicle at Tyndall Auto Plaza, exit 10 of the Parkway, Stone Harbor Boulevard, or online at KindleAutoplaza.com.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
It's a Wednesday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, so you know what that means. We talk Eagles and more with the one and only Dave Weinberg. It's a Weinberg Wednesday here on 97.3 ESPN, 97.3 ESPN mobile app. As Dave joins us right now, if you're watching on YouTube and Twitter at 973 ESPN, he joins us live on the live stream as the Eagles get ready to play the Saints in a game that actually means more than people think it does. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Josh. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Not because the Eagles are mathematically in it. I'm doing well because I'm glad to see that the team has people who are learning. There's growth in this team. You know, for as much as people like myself, and I believe you as well, have criticized Nick Sirianni, I think he's finally growing up a little bit, getting his head out of the sand and realizing, hey, if it isn't broke, don't try to fix it.
Yeah, the roots are finally starting to sprout and the flowers are growing, I guess. So, yeah, I got to give him credit. I mean, I thought that he was going to be a one-and-done coach. I really didn't have much positive to say about him for the first few weeks, but give him credit. He's really he seems to turn the team around and has them on the right track. So, yeah, I mean, color me really surprised because I wasn't expecting it.
I think part of the reason why we're surprised, Dave, is because it got so bad. It got so ugly. It got to a point where you almost wanted to reach through the screen and grab the guy by the shirt collar or whatever the weird outfit he's wearing that day is and be like, dude, what are you doing? And listen, if you're going to run the ball like this, you might not win every week, but Dave, they have a plus point scoring differential. You can't be a bad football team and have a plus scoring differential, and they're doing it because their offense is scoring more than they're not a great defense, Dave, but their offense is actually scoring.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and the defense is scoring too, as a matter of fact, but because you had Darius Slay's 82-yard return last week. But yeah, I mean, he's finally gotten around and he finally realizes that you can run the ball in this league and win by doing it. I mean, it's not the sexy thing to do. It's not the most popular thing to do. This is a passing league, but the only way the Eagles are going to have success is to keep pounding that rock with Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, now Miles Sanders coming back. If they can continue to do that, then they do have a shot at the playoffs, as crazy as that seems.
Yeah, right now, if they beat the Saints this week, they are going to hold the tiebreaker over not one, not two, but three different teams who are all in the playoff hunt with them. That in and of itself is just insane to me, Dave.
Yeah, like you said earlier, I was listening to you on my ride home that virtually, aside from Detroit, everybody's in the hunt here in the NFC. And, yeah, they're right in the thick of it. I mean, I think they really have a tough hoe to hoe still, a tough road to hoe. I don't think that they're a lock for the playoffs by any means. I mean, they do have the whole tiebreakers over some teams, but they also don't over a couple also. 49ers being one. I still think the NFC West is going to have at least two wild cards, and then after that, I guess it's kind of a crapshoot. But yeah, I mean they're still in it, and that's all you can hope. That's all you can ask for, really, considering the start that they get off to. And like you said, they've had some really ugly losses, but for some reason that didn't affect them, that didn't knock them down, and then they got back up, and now they're back in the fight.
Dave Weinberg joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, you can give him a follow on Twitter at Dave Weinberg 19. Check out his extra point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. Dave, with all that being said, they are playing a very good Saints defense this week. Mm-hmm. And after this, things get pretty much easier. You got the Jets and the Giants, your teams that give up points. But to me, this is going to be a very interesting test of this team and this offense because these are still young players. You know, Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, even when Miles Sanders comes back, it's not like he's old, not like he's a veteran at this point. So,
right.
How much are you looking at this game on Sunday and saying, hey, the last couple of weeks have been great, but now you got to go out there and really show me something against a Saints defense that barely lost a rock fight to the Titans?
Right, like you've mentioned, everybody's mentioned they have the number one run defense in the NFL. So that's going to be the big challenge for the Eagles. They've had some success, but they're playing a very good football team here, even with Simeon as their quarterback. But yeah, they're they're going to be the toughest test the Eagles have had for the last couple of weeks. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Without Dallas Goedert, that kind of worries me. I mean, they got away with it last week, obviously, but if he's not playing, that's going to put a real burden on that offense, I think, to keep things going.
Are you more concerned about the Eagles' offense without Goddard, or are you more concerned about the Eagles' defense maybe getting a little bit too aggressive against the Saints team that still has Sean Payton play calling over there?
Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, I don't know if Gannon's going to still be as aggressive as he's been. I mean, it seems to have turned around a little bit now with Davian Taylor's playing very well. TJ Edwards has been a nice difference maker for them. And they've been getting after the quarterback. They don't have a whole lot of sacks to show for it, but they are putting some pressure on some people, so that's going to help. But I mean, Sean Payton, if anybody can figure out how to beat the Eagles, it's him. He's a master as far as play calling goes and making the most of his personnel. So I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for them. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the other thing to me, and that is, in football, coaching isn't always rated highly enough to me.
Mm-hmm.
To me, like when Mike Gill and I were talking this week about the AFC West, to me, it's like, well, look, one team's got Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes and the others don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Like, to me, sometimes it's that simple. Look what the Patriots doing right now in New England. Like Belichick and Josh McDaniels are doing a phenomenal job up there.
Right.
But they're also two of the best at what they do, right? So to me, coaching matters in the NFL. And in the Saints, I understand they're not having a great season, and Jameis Winston went down, and it's Trevor Siemian, but that's still Sean Payton, and Dennis Allen's probably going to get a new head coaching job soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It probably doesn't get mentioned often enough. And, you're matching Sean Payton against Nick Sirianni. No disrespect to Nick. I mean, he's done a pretty solid job, and as he's going forward here, like I said, after the rocky start. But and everybody's pointing to last year's win over the Saints, but you had Doug Peterson on the sideline who had been around the block a couple of times and won a Super Bowl going against Sean Payton. So it really is not the same thing. It's going to be really interesting to see if Nick can, stay creative on offense, yet he's got to rely on that running game again. He has to test that Saints defense. And if it doesn't go right away, don't panic. Don't go away from it. Let Jalen Hurts make some plays with his legs and occasionally with his arm too. But the running game is what's going to carry them, I think.
You mentioned Jalen Hurts. It's the other guy I want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
There obviously were a lot of people who were trying to downplay.
Oh yeah. By the way, I don't know where Mike got the impression that I was down on Jalen at all. I've been in his corner since the get-go, as you have as well. And he's really shown himself to be a quality NFL starter and potentially their franchise quarterback. I mean, I think he's playing great.
Well, that's the thing I want to get to with you, because there are still people out there who just I don't know if they don't want to believe in him. I don't know if they just, because he's a second round pick, they're holding that against him. But at some point, I think people need to accept that, listen, I look at this draft class and I don't see a great quarterback.
Correct.
So unless you're trading for Russell Wilson, or you're drafting the next Andrew Luck type level player, why would you give up on a guy who is doing something that only 7 other quarterbacks in NFL history have done? For those who don't know, there are 7 quarterbacks in NFL history have thrown for 2,000 passing yards and 500 rushing yards in the first 10 games of an NFL season, and 3 of them are all Eagles: Randall Cunningham, Michael Vick, and Jalen Hurts. So if you're on a list with only 700 other dudes, I think you're pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Jalen has some growing to do, particularly as a passer. And everybody's so quick to point out the bad throws that he makes or the mistakes that he makes, like the interception where his hand was hit, but it wasn't the best pass, and he did miss Devontae Smith on a deep out, I think, the week before, but the guy makes plays. He's a winner. I mean, I've been saying it since the get-go. He's a leader. He's a winner. He knows how to get it done. Nothing phases that kid. Nothing gets in the way of his determination to become the best quarterback he can be. And I'm not really shocked to see the progress that he's made, because I think he's done it his whole career, really, college and the NFL, and it's really nice to see, and I'm really rooting for him.
Yeah, and the other thing is that, people were so down on him with the completion percentage last year,
Yeah,
overlooking the fact of how many balls he threw away, which the NFL's got to fix that. We gotta fix completion percentage. Like, it's like a batting average. You don't include guys getting walked on a batting average, right? You take that at bat out of the batting average formula.
Right.
So to me, you should do the same thing with completion percentage. When a quarterback throws the ball away instead of getting sacked, take that attempt out of his completion percentage. To me, it's a simple fix.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And spiking the ball too. I mean, that counts against it too, I think.
Yes, it does, which is hilarious, because how many quarterbacks spike the ball at least once a week, it seems like, because you're running a 2-minute drill.
Right. So, what do you want Jalen Hurts to throw the ball away? Or do you want him to take a 10-yard sack? And
Right.
he knows when to get rid of the ball. He knows when to try to force something in there. But if nothing's there and he's getting harassed, then throw the ball away and live to play another down, which is great at. And you're right, he should be penalized for that.
Yeah, and the other thing with Hurts is I still think that there are people who, whether they want to fully admit it or not, they are just so obsessed with what they don't have. We live in a world where the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. And It's like, when you had Donovan McNabb, you were winning division titles, but you still weren't happy with him, right? When Nick Foles had 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, they traded him away for Sam Bradford because Nick Foles was a 3rd-round pick, right? This thing, everybody, what you have is never good enough. And I think that's part of the problem here, is that there are some people, you hand them a bag of money and they say the bag's too heavy.
Yeah, and that's particularly true of Philadelphia sports fans. That's just the way they're wired, I guess. They always want the next best. As the saying goes, the backup quarterback is always the most popular player on the team.
Right.
That's probably the same now too with Gardner Minshew. Although I think Hurts has kind of established himself now, where I don't think Gardner's getting on the field anytime soon. Although, if he struggles again on Sunday, I'm sure you'll hear boos. I'm sure you'll hear, the usual, calls for the backup. But I think Jalen has cemented himself as the starter, and they'd be crazy. Like you said, there's no one out there. You can't get rid of somebody until you're sure of what you have to replace them, and they don't. There is no guy in college ranks that I can see so far that has emerged as a true franchise kind of guy. A first or second overall pick, and you can do a lot worse than Jalen Hurts, and I really think that he should be the guy going forward. But who knows what's going to happen?
Well, listen, I told people the other day, if you would rather have Kirk Cousins or Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield instead of Jalen Hurts, then yeah, go into the draft and get one of those guys.
Right. Help
but
yourself.
To me, that's not how you win football games. And honestly, the fact that this team is following this guy, we don't always value the intangibles, the leadership that goes into this. You covered the Eagles, that Super Bowl run. Those players loved Nick Foles. There's something to be said for the fact that, these guys want to play for a quarterback.
Right. I mean, the fans and the media and the critics can say all they want, but the bottom line is that how do the players feel? And the players believe in Jalen Hurts. They have his back. They're big supporters of his, just like you said, just like they were with Nick Foles when Carson Wentz got hurt in 2017. Same thing in 2018. It's there's just something about a quarterback's importance to the team can't be underestimated. I mean, can't be overestimated, I guess I should say. And Jalen is the guy. I mean, he's the guy that they're going to follow. And the sooner the critics and the media and the fans, whoever, realize that, the better off they're going to be.
Dave Weinberg joining us for another edition of Weinberg Wednesday here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, at Dave Weinberg 19 on Twitter. Check out his extra point columns over at 97.3ESPN.com. Dave, before I let you go, I want to have a little fun with you. I want to throw some random topics at you and get your reactions to them. The first
I don't put ketchup on steak, if that's what you're asking.
Well, that's what I was go with. Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, okay. So
my wife
to me,
does so.
Okay. Well, look, nobody's perfect, but but seriously, like, to me, a good steak needs nothing on it.
Mhm.
That's my opinion. If you have a
Right.
good steak, you eat the steak as is, because a lot of times I feel like people use just condiments for the sake of using condiments, not even thinking about the fact. Because
Yeah.
Al Michaels' explanation was, well, this is how I grew up. But it's like, well, yeah, you grew up doing something a certain way. You never thought about doing it another way.
Right. I mean, if I go to like a high-end steakhouse like Old Homestead at Borgata or the Palm or what have you, Ruth's Chris, I'm not putting anything on there because they know what they're doing. They know how to prepare it to get the most out of it, and it doesn't need like a condiment or whatever. Sometimes they do have their own steak sauce, and I'll try a little bit of that. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm just going to let the flavor of the steak speak for itself, and that's usually the way I do it.
Now, the College Football Playoff Committee, Dave, keeps
Okay,
ranking
this is another
Michigan.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
They keep ranking Michigan ahead of Michigan State, even though Michigan State beat Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So is the College Football Playoff Committee the biggest group of sports people who are the dumbest on earth?
Yeah, I mean, I can't figure out the rankings as far as the playoffs are concerned. They just put teams in there that I just don't understand. I'm probably going to disagree with you, where I think Cincinnati deserves a chance, being 10-0. I know they haven't beaten anybody great except for Notre Dame, but I think that's a pretty big win for them, and I think it's time for a non-Power 5 team to get an opportunity here. And but yeah, I haven't. I've kind of stopped trying to figure it out because I can't. The way the rankings are portrayed, I just don't. It's a mystery to me. It always has been.
Well, I think the most likely scenario that's going to happen is if everything plays out as we assume it might, your four are going to be Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State, Cincinnati at the end of the day.
Yeah, I could live with that. Yeah.
Because I assume that Alabama is going to lose to Georgia in the SEC championship game.
If they get there, yeah.
If Oregon wins out, then they're in. Ohio State wins out, they're in. And then Cincinnati wins out, they're in. So to me, I don't see anything changing unless the four teams I just mentioned all lose at some point, like if Cincinnati loses to SMU, or if Ohio State trips up along the way, or if Oregon gets punched in the face by Utah this weekend.
Which could happen,
then,
yeah.
Right. So, I mean, those things could happen, but if we go chalk, I'm assuming that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm kind of rooting for that, right? Like you said, Michigan's got no business being ranked as high as they are. I mean, they're a decent team, but Ohio State's going to boat race them anyway, so that'll be the end of that. As they always do.
Dave, one more before I let you go. Dave, you have kids and grandkids. So what does
Yes, I'm old. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm asking you because you are a parent and a grandparent. So
okay. Gotcha.
As a parent and a grandparent, so you have multiple layers to deal with this topic. What is your policy on getting ready for Christmas? Is there a point that it's too early? Is there a point that it's too late? Do you wait till after Thanksgiving? What is the Dave Weinberg policy on Christmas and the festivities that go along with it?
Well, we have a rule in my house, which not everybody agrees with me, but like you already have Christmas music on the radio, on Sirius or what have you. I will not allow that until after Thanksgiving. So if I'm in the car, I just don't. Don't take away Thanksgiving from me. I know everybody's all into Christmas, and I am too. But no, I'm not buying a tree now. I'm not shopping now. I'm kind of like a procrastinator when it comes to Christmas shopping. I'll wait till like maybe 2 weeks before, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I know a lot of people do this stuff online, and that's different for us now. I guess that we have grandkids that are younger, so you really want to get ahead of the game as much as you can. But generally speaking, I want the holidays. I want to enjoy each holiday as it falls. I don't want to be Christmas shopping now when Thanksgiving's still 2 weeks or a week away.
I think that answer just defined why we get along, because Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yep.
To me, it's the only holiday that people have to be grateful for what they have. Almost every holiday is about
true.
What are you buying me? What are you giving me? What are we doing? Where are we going? And there's one holiday where it's like It's about family. It's about being grateful. It's about just the simple things. And of course, there's football involved, which I love as well. But the point is that, let me have my Thanksgiving, and then you can go full blown Christmas from end to end. And I'm even okay with the people who leave their Christmas decorations up after Christmas. I'm okay with that. But give me Thanksgiving.
Yeah, there's people in my neighborhood that have them up already. If you want to put them up when the weather's warm and take advantage of that, I'm okay. Just don't turn them on yet.
Don't turn 'em on yet.
Yeah, it's just that drives me nuts.
He's Dave Weinberg at Dave Weinberg 19 on Twitter. Check out his extra point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. And don't forget about the podcast, Tequila and Touchdowns with Dave Weinberg. Dave, we'll talk to you again next Wednesday for another edition of Weinberg Wednesday. I always appreciate you jumping on in the conversation.
Oh, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. Check out the Porter Crawford fight this weekend. It's going to be a good one.
Well, we'll ask you about that next week because
okay, sounds good.
Well, this time we'll actually remember to recap the boxing match. Unlike last
there you go. Okay, very good. Take care. Thanks again.
See you, Dave. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Yeah, the Porter Crawford fight is ESPN Plus pay-per-view. So I know Dave will be very much tuned into that, and we'll get his thoughts on the aftermath of it. Because, when it comes to previewing a fight like that, it's to me, it's a very even fight. Porter Crawford, they're two phenomenally talented fighters. I think most of us assume that Crawford is going to win, but I think it's going to be a great, a fun fight either way. So with your guys' thoughts and comments on the other side, I see people like Jay chiming in. We'll get to your guys on the other side. Of course, you can text in at 609-403-0973. Also, you can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free. Thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. As I mentioned, we're live on YouTube and Twitter at 973 ESPN. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates calling all the play-by-play action.
The Flyers host the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey on the radio home of the Flyers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN, and listen live on the free mobile app.
For it. And Matt Blatt Nissan has agreed. AJ the Trade Man has extended the sale because used vehicles are still at an all-time high. So drive directly to Matt Blatt Nissan and AJ will give you top dollar for your trade or even pay you cash on the spot. So cancel that service appointment. Don't even wash it because Matt Blatt Nissan needs your trade. Stuck in a loan or lease? We will get you released. The value of your current vehicle has skyrocketed. So cash in your vehicle now and drive home in a new Nissan today with 0 down, 0% APR financing for up to 36 months on all new Nissans in stock. You may get more cash than you think and drive away with peace of mind because only Matt Blatt Nissan has a 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Matt Blatt Nissan. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle. Rate qualifications exist. Not all will qualify. 0% APR financing based on $27.77 per thousand borrowed. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to mattblattnissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 12/5/2021. Hit on at Matt Blatt Nissan from the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Little breaking news here we got for you guys. The Cy Young Award winner was announced, and it's not Zach Wheeler. Your winner of the 2021 National League Cy Young is Corbin Burnes of the Brewers. Now, Zach Wheeler finishes second. Burnes got 151 points. Wheeler got 141 points. Wheeler had the same number of first place votes as Burnes, but Burnes had more votes in other categories, earning him more points. Now, for comparison purposes, because I'm not a fan of this decision, but I'm not surprised either. At the end of the year, here's how it breaks out. Zach Wheeler, last year, ended the year with a 2.78 ERA. Burnes had 2.43, which led the league. Zach Wheeler had 32 starts. Burnes had 28. Burnes had 234 strikeouts in 167 innings. Zach Wheeler had 247 strikeouts in 213 innings. The 247 strikeouts and the 213 innings both led the National League. So it seems like the voters, the edge was the ERA, even though Burnes had fewer starts. And overall, Burnes was on a better team. So some of his metrics probably looked a little better. But Zach Wheeler loses the Cy Young race to a guy who pitched fewer games, had fewer strikeouts, had fewer innings, but had a better ERA. And you guys wonder why I always complain about people who vote for the Baseball Hall of Fame. Decisions like this, they give me trust issues. I don't trust people to make the right decision. To me, if you would have asked me a few months ago, and I asked this question to all of you guys, what's more likely, Zach Wheeler winning the Cy Young or Bryce Harper winning MVP? Well, after this decision, I have no idea what's happened with the MVP. I have zero clue. Because I thought Wheeler was almost a shoo-in for the Cy Young. Now he loses it by basically a matter of points. Good grief. All right. Let's get to a couple messages in here. Jay chimed in, sent a message in here, is watching on the YouTube channel, says, Jalen Hurts will only get better with experience. The talent is there. He just has to unlock it. Well, Jay, not just that. Jalen Hurts has played now, 14 games? 14 games in his NFL career? The dude is nowhere near his prime. And I mentioned this on the Sports Bash earlier. For all the people who complain out there, I'm telling you right now, you don't want these guys to keep leaving Philadelphia because he's not as good as you want him to be. If Jalen Hurts moves on and has a high-level career and becomes a winner somewhere else, everyone's going to regret it. Everyone's going to be like, oh, why'd you get rid of Jalen Hurts? Why are we stuck with Matt Corral or Kenny Pickett or Sam Howell, right? No, you got to be patient. You won't know who Jalen Hurts will be for another few years. By the way, Jay goes on to say none of these quarterbacks in the draft will be NFL ready as rookies. They're all Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen's to me. Well, Rosen's extreme because Rosen was a guy that went to a horrible situation, and he was never put in a position to be successful. So, look at Zach Wilson and Mac Jones. If Zach Wilson was in New England and Mac Jones with the Jets, who would be the better quarterback? Well, probably the guy in the better situation. To me, your environment matters. And I think that the problem is that these guys, they're not ready for the NFL almost ever. Very rarely are guys coming out of college fully ready for the NFL. So where they go matters a lot. And I'm with you. None of these guys are going to be better than Jalen Hurts is right now, starting next year. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. I'll catch you tomorrow here on 97.3 ESPN.